And welcome back, friends and family of the First Issue Club podcast. My name is Greg Lichtai, and today we have a very special episode of First Issue Club. Not that every episode isn't special, but this one is a little different than what we usually do. We typically cover first issues of the week, but instead, last weekend, the Clubbanites, went to the Windy City, the Big Onion, the city of broad shoulders. I'm talking Chicago. And while we were there, we went to C2E2, one of the world's largest comic book conventions, and we saw many sights, smelled many scents, and had a great old time. But before we get into that, a few things I want to get out of the way. We are going to be co-hosting, cohabitating with another local Kansas City podcast, Two Views, April 2nd for the premiere of Fox's / Marvel's / Disney's New Mutants. We'll be doing an event with them for the premiere. So if you live in Kansas City, this is only kind of pertains to the Kansas City people, DM us, message us, get at us on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. If you want to go, we have tickets to give away. You can come join us. You can come join Two Views. Come watch us talk about the movie after the fact. Whether it was good, whether it was bad, I'm praying to God that it is good because I love the New Mutants, and all the trailers look super spooky, and it's right up my alley. Thing number 2, Patreon. We have one. You want it. Extra content, episodes, interviews, videos, all kinds of fun stuff up there on the Patreon. For the price of a comic book, you too can enjoy the extra premium content that you so desperately need. So no longer deny yourself. Extra First Issue Club. I think we should get into it. Let's go ahead and get this special Chicago edition of First Issue Club started. We're here to talk about C2E2. As I said in the beginning, we went to Chicago, went to C2E2. It was cold as fuck.
Yeah, it was terrible out.
We drank alcohol in a Starbucks.
Yeah, we did, actually.
Yeah, quite a bit, actually.
Even though they said it couldn't be done.
Well, we went to a wrong Starbucks.
And the guy looked at us like, no Starbucks serves alcohol. Fuck that guy. It was 2 blocks away.
Yeah, the world's biggest Starbucks is 2 blocks away, and it's full of booze.
Yeah. He was trying to stunt. He was flexing.
He had a fake voice.
He did have a fake voice. He put on for you.
Put on.
Yeah. Oh, I'm Starbucks guy.
Also, so many people wore dumb hats in the Starbucks in Chicago.
It's a thing.
Like that work there.
Yes, the people who worked there wore like goofball fedoras and cowboy hats and looked like 1930s gangsters.
I wonder if as you get promoted, you get a new hat with your promotion.
Oh, yeah.
Or you like bring a hat from home.
Mm-hmm.
They bring hats from home. I bet it's a requirement that they have to wear one.
Does it have to be gray,
and then
though?
they get to choose what kind.
You better get a hat budget.
And eventually they become Raiden.
This coffee is wrong. Can I speak to your fedora?
Those idiots that choose fedoras, like, don't they know?
What if I wore like one that had like a horned helmet? Do you think that would count?
Yeah.
It's a hat.
Viking helmet.
Yeah.
No one was wearing ball caps, so I think there's a certain level of fanciness you got to have.
Yeah.
Did we make jokes about wearing really racist hats?
No, I wanted to wear like the Dr. Seuss Cat in the Hat.
No, I know, but then we were talking about like the hats with the braids, the Rasta braids attached to it. And like, this isn't okay?
What do you mean I have to go home?
This is how I feel comfortable.
A book is a hat in some cultures.
Speaking of dressing in fun hats, what did you guys think about the whole cosplay situation this year at C2E2?
The cosplay landscape has changed.
Yeah, big time.
Because it was less She-Hulk and more, who the fuck is this anime character?
Yes.
So that's
completely.
That's normally been my experience.
Same.
Has it?
It has been like just like crazy video game or anime person I can't name.
I've always seen Harley Quinn, Deadpool,
Wonder
Thor.
Woman.
Yeah, like
I still saw a fair amount of that.
A lot of Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
Like, I see a ton of women dressed as DC
Captain Marvel,
heroes.
Rey from
Yeah.
Star Wars.
it is mostly DC heroes. What the fuck?
Yeah.
DC's got the cosplay going on.
Mm-hmm.
There was what one we looked at it for a long time it was like a fan art of some weird anime thing called like Blood Princess.
Is what, like, one?
Won the entire thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh.
and like she had like eyes blooding out, kind of.
Cool.
But I had never seen it before. It's like, I don't know. It's just kind of crazy to think of like of the however many people there. The number one costume was a thing that was like fan art.
Yeah, so I can just bring an original character next year and like, who you cosplaying as?
Well, no, it has to
Fiddlestick
be
Dave.
something that's recognized. People do get up there. I've seen it happen at Planet too with original designs.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
That's not, that's the thing that can be done. I
Who
think
are you
it
supposed
just
to
has-
be? A dump truck?
I think it just has to do with like the criteria that they're judging for is how well it's made, how you can recognize it from like 2D design to
All the judges were like people of known cosplaying. I think C2E2 is a hub for cosplay.
that
Like,
would make sense.
They crown a champion there. It was like legit judges. So yeah, there were some people flexing, but not a lot of Marvel DC.
No, agree. I was surprised.
Which is that going to be a thing now? Like people just don't dress up as superheroes anymore. They just save that for Halloween. Like the real serious cosplayers come to cons now as like these complex anime video game characters.
I honestly, I'm trying to tell you, this is the thing I have seen.
I'm not trying to tell you what your perspective is or what you have and haven't seen in your life.
I'm with Greg. This surprised me this year.
Okay.
And maybe part of it is just like from an Instagram like cosplay scene that anime reads better than, or these like niche things that are really ornate read a lot better than another person dressing up as Spider-Gwen.
It makes sense because, I mean, yeah, at a comic book convention, you expect to see superheroes in cosplay, but that shit is played out.
Yeah.
I mean, you see it every year. So if you want to stand out in a competition, I guess you got to go really, really weird.
Yeah.
The best thing that I saw was every single character from Watchmen,
The TV show, The Watchmen.
the TV show, The Watchmen.
And
Yeah.
they're, like people hanging together.
And yeah, think about that. They had to have 11 different friends fully committed to that. I don't have 11 friends I can take to Comic-Con.
Didn't you say you saw there was like a lube guy too?
Yep, lube guy, and then the panda bear wearing guy, like the police officer that's like looked exactly like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like so random B characters from the show.
And they're just standing to the side when we saw them, just in a line, just hanging out.
They were getting like a big photo.
Yeah,
I know what they were doing, but the first time we saw them, they're just like awkwardly standing in a straight line.
Yeah, that's true.
Not a good look, Watchmen cosplayers.
Try to
Yeah,
say
so
in a
you're
straight
aware.
line, so
Do you
you're
want-
clearly
Your
recognizable.
character
Yes,
would
so
never
dumb.
have done that.
Do you want
Ever.
them? Do you want them dancing constantly?
Yeah, make it Fortnite. Fortnite me. Flossom a baby.
There's a lot to talk about at C2E2. There's a lot of things that happened. We saw a lot of artists and creators.
This is the only year I stood in line for way longer than I probably should have for all of my autographs.
Yeah.
I stood in Caitlin and I stood in line for Donnie Cates and for like what?
Ryan
hour and a half?
Stegman.
Ryan Stegman for like an
But
hour
at
and a
least
half?
we split
Wow.
line per line.
Yeah, we did do that. There was like a Donnie Cates line, and then all of a sudden they like split it in two.
Well, and sometimes they overlap weird. Like you've got you've got two people who you want to sign the same book. One person's out from 11 to 1. The other person's out from like 2 to 4 or 1:30 to 3. And they won't let you get the book signed by both of them, even if both of them are at the same booth. You have to wait in the two separate lines.
Oh, that
it's-
sucks.
Yeah,
it's silly.
strange. It's strange
was
the way they
weird.
do that.
And then
Didn't Henry Ford figure this out with the fucking, assembly line? Put comic down, sign comic, take comic away. Like these lines should be going real quick.
Mm-hmm.
did you guys have a favorite creator
A favorite creator that we met?
that you got to meet? Yeah.
I mean, they were all really, really kind and gracious when we like met them. Tim Seeley was really cool.
He was.
He talked to us
actually.
for a while. He was really cool.
We
had
didn't
him
give him
sign
a sticker
some.
though.
No,
We're real bad at doing that. You guys have to.
we
you
give
guys
people
are
in line
good at-
more stickers than creators.
Yeah, you guys are good at that.
That's good. Yeah, we brought Wolverine stickers that had his tiny penis out.
And it was a big hit.
His
Yeah.
little bub.
Yeah, every creator liked it. It was good fodder.
Yep.
It was good for me to.
We even gave it to Benjamin Percy,
Yes.
who currently is writing the Wolverine comic book.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gary Duggan tried to give it to him again because he was like so pumped about it.
Or Gary Duggan didn't want his, and he was just
Yeah.
trying to give it away.
No, I think everybody was pretty pumped.
What about you guys?
It was a 3-way tie
Oh.
between Teenie Howard, Leah Henderson, and Jenny Frison. Every one of them I had like a nice conversation with. They were great. They were selling cool stuff. And in general, liked the Wolverine sticker.
So I've noticed that like when you talk to some of these like creators that have like been at cons for a while, like they kind of get into the groove of talking about the same stuff over and over again. Teenie Howard is always super fucking excited just to talk about Marvel books and X-Men. Like she could probably do this for the rest of her life, just con season. She's just like genuinely like super pumped about these
Her
books.
energy is infectious.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, she's a powerhouse.
Yep.
I'm definitely a fan.
I told her that I really liked Forgotten Queen, which was a Valiant book she did that I dug, and she immediately was like, "Oh, it's funny that you say that because so and so is also doing a vampire thing, so that's like really funny right now." So like, Ben Percy, if you could go talk to him, then he's like got vampires in his book too. So like Forgotten Queen, and I was like, "Oh, yeah,
Teenie, calm down.
oh, very cool."
What is in that soda?
But she was really nice. She was I only had one book signed, and it was a Teenie Howard Excalibur cover that I got at the con.
A con exclusive.
Con exclusive.
No one else can have this.
Yeah, some Marvel panels, they give you these like partial sketch covers where some stuff's colored in and the rest of it's just inks. And they're apparently very, very exclusive. It was like, what was our last book to come out the previous week? Let's print like a few hundred extra and hand them to one group of people at one panel. I looked on eBay, and they don't really sell for a lot of money just because they're so obscure that people don't know to look for it. They don't know what to like measure it against.
Isn't that weird where
Yeah.
it's like it has to hit this like weird value market of like it probably has to be printed at least 3,000
Right.
copies for it to be super valuable. But under 3 and 2,000, it's like it's too obscure even though you would think it would be more valuable.
That'd be like the hidden gem to get your hands on, yeah.
The one thing is that, well, we have like those weird Valiant ones that they do, the golden
Gold covers,
Oh, yeah.
And people do know about those.
Yes.
And those
They go
skyrocket.
ape shit for those
Yeah.
covers. Nothing about the cover is different except the font is gold.
Hey, you know what we missed out on, which I didn't even realize, is that lenticular or the holographic of Mercy from Merca and Dolfo.
Uh-huh.
That would have been really cool to grab. Like, and to get it before the week that it comes out, which is this week.
Yeah, it was super weird that book
Oh,
was
she was
there.
selling it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's selling it a week early.
Really? I didn't realize that.
I just was looking at the book and I was like, I don't know what that is. Because I thought I knew what all of her stuff was.
Uh-huh.
And I would have totally grabbed it. I would have loved to just read it early.
Yeah, she was actually really cool. She speaks fluent Italian and not fluent English.
Well, she writes a great comic.
Yeah, so like, well, maybe translated over.
Oh, it
But-
is.
Unnatural was written right.
So like,
In
I was
Italian.
I was talking to her, and she would say something and look to her friend, and they would speak in Italian, and then the guy would be like, "She means this." And I was like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah.
very cool. I love your work. It's very sexy.
Man, we're never going to
It
see
gets
her.
me hot below belt. Thank you."
I wish I would have met her. We're never going to see her at another con. I mean,
Why do you think that?
she lives in Italy. Like, is she ever going
Well,
to
she probably can't go back to Italy currently.
That's true.
Good point. Oh, we should make this a coronavirus episode.
Actually, I did want to talk about something that is going on with the coronavirus, but it's not bad. I'm not going to spread any rumors or anything. But so were you guys at all?
Sounds like you're going to
So
spread some
cautious.
rumors.
Yeah.
Say rumor
I want to
spreader.
speak to the media. Please do not cause any kind of chaos with any falsehoods with medicines that are not available.
No, your Bloomberg changed.
That was my Trumpberg. Sorry. Were you guys at all like kind of worried about the
Yeah.
flu or corona while we were there?
It occurred to me, yeah. And as the con went on, the more people I noticed were like wearing masks and shit.
Yeah.
This was definitely by the time the con had hit, it was like a popular news story that your face masks aren't doing jack shit.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And yet people wore them.
and yet people were still wearing them in droves. So
Yeah.
it just kind of was a constant reminder.
And there was a whole big thing about like fist bump versus elbow bump.
Yes.
Yeah, their creators had signs on their tables. It's just like, I won't shake your hand, but I will, like, fist bump you or give you an elbow bump, because, like, they don't want to get fucking sick. They're, like, in the front lines pretty much.
Yeah, they're meeting people all day long.
Yeah. So next weekend is Emerald City Comic-Con. And Dark
Yeah.
Horse has already pulled out.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Straight up, and so did Random House.
There's 20,000 petition signatures trying to cancel South by Southwest because of coronavirus.
That makes sense.
So Emerald City, where there is, and I've
Already
seen
like 100 or some cases.
I've seen some
confirmed.
bands just not even go there anymore.
Yeah.
I think we may see Emerald
Rough.
City at least, like, cancel for the year.
That is
would-
rough.
that would
That's super
suck.
rough.
Think about, I wonder if there's insurance on events like this.
Yeah.
There probably is, but I doubt there's insurance for like we had a low turnout.
Yeah.
There's not insurance on like we had low ticket buy.
Yeah.
So then if you think you're going to get a low ticket buy, just cancel
Just
it.
cancel
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Just
You
pull
probably
out.
still have to pay the venue fee.
Which is
Eat
got to
it.
be astronomical.
Exorbitant.
Would you rather eat that price or potentially get so many fucking people sick and make headlines for the wrong reason?
At that point, it's maybe up to the city to take that into their hands. So it's not like the venue pressuring the convention to do this awful thing.
If
Yeah.
the city made them cancel, I bet they could get insurance at that point.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. So do you think, like, other venues will cancel?
or
Like,
at least
there's-
postpone.
Yeah. I mean, Planet's
reschedule.
the end of March.
Oh, that's a good point. Do you think Planet will cancel?
Well, has there been any confirmed cases in Kansas City?
I thought
There was one up in
Lawrence-
Lawrence, for sure, but I don't know if there has been any
Well,
in
they
Kansas City.
they
at all.
said by the end of the month or in 2 months there should be like thousands of people all over the U.S. So I assume we're gonna get something here in Kansas City.
Man, I am so excited. Well, let's transition from this talk about sick to some sick talk about C2E2. What do you guys think of the Marvel panel?
The Mike D went to 2.
I went to 2, yeah. The first one I went to was Al Ewing and Jonathan Hickman talking about the year they've kind of had.
So they're just taking their victory lap in this
in
panel?
comics. Not necessarily, no. But they kind of talked about, they opened it with talking about how they both got into comics, which was interesting, just to let those guys like bounce back and forth for a while. And then they opened it up to discussion, and the questions that came from the audience were very reflective of like your last year in comic books. Some people were asking fucking stupid questions.
Ooh, I wanna hear
just
one.
like,
Who would win in a fight?
no, that's like a decent question, I think. Like your perspective on something made up. But people would be like, no, I could see that, you're choosing to develop Rogue in this way or another. What role is she going to play as like the Krakoan Council moves forward? And Jonathan Hickman's like, I can't really talk about,
Right.
what's going to happen in issue 18.
Yeah. Because I want you to buy it.
And people were just like one after another asking fucking questions about like what's gonna happen like 10 issues from now.
At that point, it's just posturing to show them that you
Yeah.
know where the story is currently and you
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
opinions about it.
That fucking sucks. But
That's not a question.
yeah, they were really cool guys. One of the things I wrote down in my notes was that Al Ewing, who has been writing the Mortal Hulk to much fanfare, said that in issue 8, the Hulk eats a guy, which has never happened in comics before. So it was a numerical pun.
Haha.
It's like he ate a guy.
He ate and ate.
Oh,
I was
that's
like,
cool.
I was like, mind blown.
What an Easter egg. Now it's going to be worth $500,000 on eBay. Do you have the pun issue?
Al Ewing was great to meet. He is such a nerd, but in all the best ways.
Yeah.
He's doing the new incoming event. Or he did the incoming event, now he's doing the Empire event coming up for Marvel. So they have him for quite a while.
Yeah, he's Mr. Events lately. did all the
Mr. Events, how are you?
did all the No Surrender stuff. One of the things that kind of surprised me from that panel in particular was how much it seems like Marvel editors and creators just make decisions on the fly. Like, my perspective is always that Al Ewing had this grand plan for Immortal Hulk and knew where, like, issue 20 of it was going to be when he introduced the character in Avengers No Surrender, right? But when he talks about, we were sitting in a room and we were like, it's about time we bring the Hulk back. Like, that'd be cool. And we were talking about ways to bring him back, and it was just like, what if you just can't kill him? Like, he's this ethereal being that just doesn't die.
They're fucking like workshopping. There's like, I don't know. What
And they were like, sometimes the easiest answer is the best one. And so they were like, we were just like, yeah, he doesn't die, and then he was back.
God, that's terrifying.
And then they're like, what if he can't walk? And then it's a mobile Hulk.
Wow, how long you been sitting on that one?
I wish you would have gone up and asked that.
Welcome to the Budget
The
King
panel.
Comedy Hour.
Yeah, so then
They ask you to leave the panel when you
That panel was much more informative than the larger Marvel panel.
the X-Men one.
Yeah, and the X-Men one, because they had so many creators, and one, they packed that place out. There was like a huge line for it.
Whoa. We showed up late and walked right in.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Always.
But
I had a couple cool takeaways though from it.
well, I was gonna say that you just don't get the best experience just because everyone's so rushed. When you've got
Right.
when you have like 8 creators on stage, no one has the time to like really get into something or say something. But when you had 2 creators and the like editor-in-chief of Marvel sitting at a table together and just like chatting and bouncing off each other about their personal experience with comics and where comics are, I thought that was so good.
Sorry, I kept thinking during that panel they did the thing where they did last year where they pulled someone from the audience
Yes.
and they had them read a new first issue that no one has seen.
Yes.
And I thought, what the fuck do they think's gonna happen with that? Like, so they're like, well, what'd you think of it? They're not like, I just want to see someone be like,
I don't know.
like it was, I don't know, it wasn't bad.
Solid 5 out of 10.
A little derivative.
Art was good. Like they always are just like, hey, what'd you think of this Cable #1? Like, it was fucking awesome.
What if it was us? What do we do as podcasters if they're like, hey, come up and read Cable #1 before anyone else?
You have to be amped.
Yeah.
You have to.
We gotta
pretend-
sell the
you have to-
product.
yeah.
Will we talk about it on the show?
Fuck
Well,
yes.
and to be fair, I think the guy
you would.
that they pulled up did a fair job. He wasn't just like, oh my God, I loved it. He like actually made a comment without spoiling that wasn't like, I'm all in on this, but did say, I think this was really interesting.
Yeah.
And was like a little tidbit that would have actually,
Yeah, he was a
Made
plant,
sense.
is what you're saying.
I think maybe.
He was a Marvel intern.
Well, because at the end he was like, thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
Can I leave my
Yeah.
resume up here?
No, it was great.
They had him read Cable #1. I don't know if we said that or not.
Yeah,
But-
by who was
The
it by? Is
other-
it Duggan and
I
Noto?
think it's Duggan and Noto, yeah.
The other panel that we went to that was super heavy that I think was informative in a totally different way was the Oni Press panel. And it was pretty heavily geared toward people who are aspiring writers and artists in the comic book industry. But it was so interesting to hear from the perspective of writers that aren't necessarily heavily employed with the big 2, but are kind of like, yeah, maybe they got a cover gig for one thing, or IDW has like used a bunch of their stuff, or like just kind of piecemealing it, but then have their own books through Oni Press. And it was from a podcaster's perspective, I didn't really get. It wasn't a discussion about the comic book landscape, but it was definitely interesting about just listening to their perspectives on what people can do with your art, what people can do with your stories if you're not if you're not on these like super
And it turns out anything they fucking want
right.
to.
If you're not on these super lengthy runs or people don't automatically associate your name with a character or with a book series, like it's rough out there.
I think the most interesting thing they talked about was most of these writers and artists worked for like IDW and like other places that like did like licensed material, and they would say that they would draw like this really great, like let's say Sonic the Hedgehog thing, and they would only get paid for that one image, but then they would go see it on T-shirts, lunchboxes, and like everywhere else, and they wouldn't see a fucking dime from it.
And they can't, but they know that when they take the gig.
I would be so pissed off though.
Yeah, isn't that weird that they basically just have to be like, yeah, I'll do this cover for $200 and see what happens.
At least like 3/4 of that panel said that that's the only way they got recognized and like known enough
Yeah.
to get the books that they are now known for.
It is a like, yeah, that was super fascinating to
Yeah.
hear them say. And then the perspective of like, I am so thankful that I got to do a Star Trek thing in my life. I never thought that would come true. So like the other side of it is like, nope, I'm actually really thankful that this exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hearing that fan art is sometimes how people break in, crazy. Also, setting up a booth and setting and selling your doodles is sometimes how, or like that somebody who writes for a book, seeing what you've done in terms of fan art for this character and understanding, oh, you'd be a good fit for this.
Total, like there was one guy that was like, I was just doing Transformer fan art.
Yeah.
IDW came up to me and said, you should submit. They gave me a Transformer cover. That was my first gig, and I'm now employed as an illustrator.
Well, he said that the turnaround was like 2 months. They approached him. He said, "Okay." He drew it, and then within 2 months, that was the cover.
Well, and some of them talked about the deadlines being that quick too. Like you're unknown, so they're gambling on you.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to over deliver, and you've got to do it so quickly.
Yeah.
It was just really interesting to hear from that perspective. People that you would assume like they've got it made, they're cushy, they're on this label, totally not the thing.
I think the one thing that entire panel had working against it was that room was a fucking oven. It was so goddamn hot.
It was
in that
really
room,
hard to be in there.
and I was about to take a nap.
I want to go back to the X-Men panel for a minute. They previewed a bunch of different things that were like, if you weren't in X-Men, it was you were going to be lost, or you're going to be super pumped if you were in X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
But they previewed, I think it's called like Children of the Atom.
Yes.
Book, and it's like a newer writer from Marvel, and it's like a teen book that's going to introduce a bunch of characters. And she said that like she's having like one that does TikTok, one that's like a Twitch streamer. It made me really pumped about that book. Like really excited to see. She was like, I'm writing it from the perspective of like, I'm a 30-year-old, and what would it be like to like wild out and be a teenager as a superhero? Like, how would that work? And what would be my dream?
And like, I think I read an interview. Well, I know I read an interview with her, and it's just she equated it to like when you put like a sports player's poster on your wall, and you like that's like you want to grow up to be like a football player or a basketball player. These are very young mutants who had like posters of Cyclops and Nightcrawler on their wall, and so they aspire to be these X-Men, and to have that kind of perspective for a book is like very, very interesting, and just to see, you know, where she takes it, it's going to be really cool.
Yeah. So there's a lot of cool stuff coming through the X-Men chain. And the other cool thing was Hickman was like so collaborative. And at one point he caught himself, but he was going to say something to the effect of like, I think this is the best team to ever write Marvel stuff. And he was kind of like, I'm really proud of this team. He like cut himself off. But man, he gives Teenie Howard like a bunch of like stage to just kind of like flex and do stuff. And Marvel's under good leadership at this point.
Yeah. Benjamin Percy's voice
sounds fake.
Well, he sounds like a radio host.
People kind of chuckled when he started talking the first time in the room. Did
I
you
mean,
guys
it
read
was
that?
it was sexy, but
I was
like
gonna
it was
say,
like
I don't know that it sounds fake. I do think it sounds very attractive.
Hey, I'm Benjamin Percy. It's like, oh my. Did it get hot in here? But I did catch the
Am I
chuckles,
back
Mike.
in the Oni panel? It is hot.
There was lots of crazy, like just crazy floor stuff or anything else that happened outside of the panels that you were impressed by, or C2E2
Got
in
to
general?
hold a large anime hammer. You know, when you see those oversized, huge swords and mallets and shit that
Like Looney Tune style.
like people carry around. It was interesting to be able to actually hold one of those and feel how much it weighed, and
What
all
was
that
it like?
stuff.
Easy to hold?
It was
or-
kind of heavier than I thought it'd be, but at the same time, like, I mean, it looked like a massive. It was really well done, and it looked like a huge hammer, but it was like this paper mache
yeah.
thing.
Did you talk to them at all about how long it took them to make it, or if you could buy it?
I just ran up and grabbed the hammer and ran off.
I thought you were
I
going to
am
say, did you
anarchy
talk
incarnate.
to it? Did
No.
you talk to the hammer?
It sounded like it took like a week of like layering things and.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
That's why I don't cosplay.
Says the man who spends equally or more time on Gundam.
Exactly.
Hey, now.
How is that different?
I'm not making it for. Well, it's not.
So one experience I had was there's like an anime pop area, which was so cool. It just was like set up to just take pictures. There was like a tea set, and then there was like this tree forest to just like go and take a picture. And so this family, I was gonna take a picture, and then this family in front of us went to go take a picture, and like their big pose was that like the kid was gonna kick the dad in the butt, kind of. Well, as they step off,
At a tea party?
they knocked down literally every single tree. Like it's like something out of like a Looney Tunes episode, like 6 trees domino around, right?
All right.
So I'm furiously trying to fix them and like set them up.
And the
then-
kid kicks you in the butt.
And they come over and they're like, huh, it's almost like we did that or something like that. He said something to the effect of like, he wasn't sure if you did that, and I was like, no, you did. Like I'm picking up your mess, and they just like laughed and they're like, don't tell anybody. And I was like, no, fucker, like get over here. I'm cleaning up your fucking trees, and now it looks like I knocked over these trees, but you're leaving, and I didn't even get a picture because I just cleaned up trees.
If the manager of C2E2 walks by, I'm gonna get in trouble.
Yes.
Come over here and help me.
Pick up your fucking trees. But anyway, cons, I could just live at a con. I get so energized. I love it. It's like, I love everything about it.
Yeah, I could tell you had more staying power in you than I did. I felt like I was
Well, we were there for what? 8 hours?
probably about 8 hours. And about 6, I was like, I need to be in like a quiet chamber.
Well, then you had a beer and you were like, da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, the beers really help.
Beer power.
We want to talk about anything Chicago, E? Because we also had fun in Chicago.
I was going to tell you that I actually was the person who knocked down everything at the pop-up bar that we went to that was all Middle Earth
Oh, yeah.
themed.
All those hobbits just
There
crushed.
was a bunch of hobbits in front of their Shire facade, and it was a domino effect. I like tried to take a funny picture with Elijah Wood, and I turned around and they were like all on the ground, and a couple people were looking, not too many people were looking, so it wasn't like a huge scene. And I picked them all up, so no one
Frodo,
had
why
to
are
come.
you sleeping?
Yeah, no, but I looked around and I was like, oh. It was right next to the DJ booth too, and I think the
You
DJ
hit the
was like,
record.
everyone in the club. I just like cry and leave. Yeah, but
No,
at least I picked them up,
Yeah.
and no one had to.
Yeah,
come
you're
up and clean up
courteous.
my mess.
I love Chicago. Every time I go to Chicago, it's always a great time. So it was nice to see familiar sights and different places that we go to all the time. So
Highlight for me was those Portillo's hot dogs.
Those hot dogs were insanity.
They were really good.
I truly don't know how many hot dog I could take down from Portillo's.
it was funny. We went
So
to that
good.
place. You all got hot dogs. I got spaghetti.
Yeah,
you got
did.
fucking spaghetti.
We went to like a weird
But you don't-
cafeteria
You don't eat
restaurant.
meat.
I don't eat meat.
But
yeah.
it was so good, and they had tons of things.
They did.
It was the food was good in Chicago. The Uber drivers were
Wild.
we had. I mean,
Shout out to Sammy. Wherever you are, buddy. We're thinking about you. R.I.P. With the way you're living, you're probably dead by now.
yeah, we had a guy Sammy who told
Many stories.
many a tall tale.
He was like Paul Bunyan brought to life.
Yes, and we had another Uber driver that I felt like he knew Chicago a little bit. So I was like, give me your top 5, like, best things to do, can't miss Chicago things. And he pauses and he goes, Don't get carjacked. and he said
Hyper specific.
he said it with such confidence that we were like, "Oh shit, you been carjacked?" No.
I just don't think I think it should be on everyone's
Do not do
priority
list.
not to do it.
I think we even said, "Does that happen a lot?" And he was just like, "It used to." It's just like such a weird response.
I wonder if he was like, what can I say that will elicit the fewest amount of questions after I say it?
I don't know. Don't get attacked by pigeons.
The best thing to do is
It used
not to
to.
do something.
It used to happen.
Don't fall down on the subway. That's a good one. I won't do that.
The top 5 things to do are things not to do.
Remember to breathe. Okay. I'll breathe.
Also, weed is now recreationally legal in Chicago. And so one of our experiences was just like purchasing it, which felt like insanity. It felt like
did.
post-apocalyptic sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think that might have been the dispensary you went to.
Okay.
I
you
have
don't thi-
gone to dispensaries in Colorado that are not like that.
Super chill.
I've been to tons in Colorado
Yeah.
and LA. I think this might be we're a new state figuring it out thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if this
This
was
Yes.
might be the way Chicago
The
has to do
experience
it.
you described to us was like you were in the Hunger Games.
it was
Yeah, it was like our overlords were giving us like stay alive pills.
literally you
Line up for weed.
you have to
The
watch.
chosen ones, come through, come through.
I'm not sure we can even do it justice by explaining it, but like
Gummy your flower. Gummy your flower.
it was
You must pick.
insane. Yeah, if you're a person that has the least bit of anxiety, it would have induced.
You wouldn't
Yeah.
have to buy more of the edibles to,
Yeah.
to fucking mellow out.
Oh, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But man, Chicago was just full of wonder and delight.
So we ran into Ronnie
I was
on the
gonna say,
train.
yeah, so many shout outs. Ronnie,
And
Mark
Richard
Mark
Kind.
Sable.
Mark Sable, yeah, he was awesome.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you guys saw Richard Kind
Yeah.
at a Air
From
Space
A Bug's
Museum?
Life.
Yeah.
From famously
You may know
in
him
A Bug's
from
Life.
A Bug's Life.
His most famous role.
And true to his name, he was very kind
He was very kind.
and a dick.
I was
Richard.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know. I love traveling with you guys, and I like you guys as friends. That's one of my takeaways that I had on this trip.
Oh, well, thank you. We mirror the sentiment.
Lots of funny stories and lots of good shared hotel experiences. One thing I can say about Mike D, sleeping next to him in a bed is delightful. He's a great conversationalist as you fall asleep. He has the art of the sleep combo.
Bedroom talk.
Yeah.
You do have the gift of gab there, Mike D.
Appreciate that.
Your pillow talk is on point.
Yeah,
you.
it's great.
Also, we all fart like a goddamn.
Oh yeah, it's insane. We have problems.
Yeah.
If
Well,
you-
we're over 30 and we had gluten, so
It's
we were firing them off.
yeah.
We also had an Uber that started to smell. And everyone in our party claims they did not fart. But there was a clear
Forgot about that.
fart. And the only response in the car was the driver going, ew, and then rolling the window down, which would lead you to believe it wasn't him. Or maybe it was and he just felt like he had to acknowledge it.
He was covering his tracks.
Ew. not another word spoken.
Was there a favorite thing you guys left the con with that you purchased at the con or got at the con?
My horror story is that I bought this really cool Wolverine cover that was a Marvel exclusive. It was like a fucking $25 comic, and my spine got all dinged
You dinged it.
on the trip home,
R.I.P.
which sucks. I didn't bring or buy hardly anything.
I bought too much stuff.
We didn't buy too terribly much. We did get a surprise where we got all 3.
We got a trifecta.
Yeah, we got a surprise trifecta.
Yeah, I brought
Of
my
signatures.
Revival #1. So it was signed by Tim Seeley, the author.
Mike
Ginny
Norton.
Frizen
Cover artist.
did the cover. I didn't even know that. They're sitting right next to each other. And then Mike Norton was there, who did the art for the issue.
That's pretty cool.
Bing Bang Boom. It was fucking rad.
Whoa.
I maybe only have 2-3 comics signed by 3 people. That's hard to do.
But you have the most killer trifecta signature ever, which is the first black suit for Superman.
Yeah, I have all 3 of the guys.
And that thing is sick.
Mhm.
That's
God,
awesome.
I'm so jealous of that.
Beatty, Zek, and Shooter
Yeah.
all on one cover.
God, it is clean.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like to when there's a creator and they have something that seems exclusive. That's kind of my.
I like buying that stuff too.
And so the creator of Headlopper had like these 1 in 50 pins they had, which were kind of cool. And then Jenny Frison had a comic of her covers, which was kind of fun. So yeah, it was good. I bought a Bitter Root like variant.
Oh, yeah. My Neighbor Totoro variant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was cool that creator was there, because I think that, a month before that, they had recently found out who the director of their movie was going to be.
Who's the director?
Oh, yeah, Ryan Coogler.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell.
Black
All
Panther?
right.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I'm down for that.
Yeah.
That's going to be sick.
So there was a lot of that. Shout out to the guy who makes Kaiju Max on Oni Press. He was fucking awesome. And that comic book is great. And I didn't know he was going to be there. And he does all his art, and it was just, he was relatable and cool, and that's all he does.
Yeah. I will say, it was a fucking blast of a weekend. We took the Amtrak, the train to the Layman, and
On the way out there was legit 5 juggalos that we rode with.
and they smoked on the train.
They smoked on the train both weed and a cigarette, which is the cigarette.
Yeah, I'm more turned off by the cigarette smoke than.
I'm more turned off that they did all that and had a baby with them.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
That seems pretty on par. I literally have a Gathering of the Juggalos photo book, and it's one of the epic pictures is this pregnant lady smoking, and it's that's the one that kind of always gets looks, and it's whoa, literally you are this fucking book. You are what everybody would say about a Juggalo. It's crazy.
Yeah. The 2 most popular things on our train up were Amish and Juggalos.
I feel like Amish and Mennonite people are always on the trains.
All right, that's C2E2 episode.
C2E2 episode is over. Don't forget we have Patreon episodes that you need to go listen to because they're fun. If you're in Kansas City and you want to come to the New Mutants premiere, get at us on any social media and we'll put you on the list. We have limited tickets. So act fast because they will be going quickly. And that's all I got.